What's going on, everyone? It's Mike Siervo here. Thank you so much for another edition of Ready, Set, Rise, where RISE stands for Real Individuals Sharing Excellence. It's always a pleasure here to sit in front of amazing guests. I'm really excited about today's guest because we are going to talk about a lot of stuff regarding entrepreneurship, martial arts, stuff that's really important to me as well, and really going into mindset and just having my next guest. Man, I'm really, really excited. So before we begin, let me just do a quick introduction. We have the one and only Mr. Erik Allan. And if you're not familiar with Erik, let me tell you a bit about him. He's born and raised in Calgary with a degree in mechanical engineering and a minor in entrepreneurship and enterprise development from the University of Calgary. He spent the last 4 years heavily involved in the innovation ecosystem running the Calgary-based technology accelerator, the Tundra ACE program, which helps energy companies tackle industry challenges by deploying new technologies. Now, one of the really interesting things is his other role, right, Erik? He's the co-founder of the martial arts lifestyle company, Budo Brothers. And guys, check them out. We're going to go deep into Budo Brothers because the philosophy of this company is unreal. And what they do is they help tap into the true potential through martial arts. Erik and his business partner, Kyle Mahadio, also run a nonprofit called the Budo Youth Fund that helps deserving kids chase their dreams in martial arts. To date, they have put 42 kids through the martial arts that have probably wouldn't have been able to get that. So, Erik, welcome to Ready, Set, Rise, my friend.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here, and I can't wait to dig in.
Oh, this is going to be good. So, every episode we start off with a quote. So, tell us a quote that's meaningful to you and why.
Sure. Okay. So, I had to think about this, and I want to honor a gentleman that really had a big impact in my life, even though I don't know him. Okay. Author. Many people, I'm sure, have heard of him. Eckhart Tolle. Man, his books, The Power of Now. Yeah. Dude, he's not from this planet. Yeah. He has helped so many people, including myself. And one of these quotes, I was reading this book, The Power of Now, and this one stood out to me, and it really changed the way I view life. And here it is. If your mind carries a heavy burden of past, you will experience more of the same. The past perpetuates itself through lack of presence. The quality of your consciousness at this very moment is what shapes the future, which of course can only be experienced as now. And
powerful.
The reason why I love that quote so much is because it is so true, and it stood out to me. I had to put the book down. I had to write it down because I'm like, that is true. How many people do you know that are stuck in their past, rerunning the crises of the past and all the people that have let them down and the reasons why they're not tapping into their true power? And when you look at what the moment is, the moment of now, which dictates the future. If you're in a shitty mindset, odds are you're going to be creating a shitty future.
Right.
If you converge on the moment and get into the moment and have that presence that brings you into the very moment, man, you can set up the future that you want to design. And when I started thinking like that, my life changed.
Right. I think it's powerful because a lot of people, they allow the past to determine, the past prevents them from enjoying the present and the future.
Yes.
Right. And I really feel that the only moment we actually have is the now.
It's the only one that exists.
The past is done. It's gone, right?
Exactly. It only exists in our minds.
Exactly. So the only moment is the now.
Yes.
And it's so tough to be present because there's so many different external factors that are really impacting your thought. We don't have the ability. Well, I mean, a lot of us are not even aware with our subconscious mind.
Yes.
Right. And I think I love that quote, man. It's more empowering, right?
Absolutely. And you as a martial artist know, why do people love martial arts? There's no better way to get present than to be dodging a punch. Because guess what? If you're thinking about the bills you got to pay, you're going to get hit. Yeah. And it doesn't have to be martial arts. It can be anything. It can be rock climbing. It can be, people think that you love climbing up a wall with rocks.
Right.
But when the reality is, it makes you present and you love being present. So whatever the mode is that brings you into the moment, man, do more of that.
Yeah.
And then if you can carry that into your everyday life where you can be present with someone across the room, across the table, and have a great conversation, man, that's how life changes.
It's interesting because we always talk about you can't foresee the future, right? The only way to do it is to create it.
Yes.
Right? So
like
by
that.
being in the moment, you are creating the future.
Yes.
Right? So I just love that. Speaking of the future,
Yeah.
Avengers,
Okay.
Avengers Endgame,
Okay.
and Game of Thrones is done, right? So now
Okay.
that they're done,
Yeah.
what happens to you now that you can't be a Viking actor and Thor's stunt double? Like, what happens? Are you like? Is there a sense you're like, shit, man? What am I gonna do now?
Well, I appreciate. I was wondering where you're going with that because reality is it's actually not my genre.
Is it right?
Yeah, I haven't watched Avengers. Yeah, I know. Most people are shocked.
Yeah. Because you got this Helmsworth look.
Right, I had to look up who this dude was. Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
But I as far as content that I consume, I'm either documentaries or it takes a lot for me to. Who doesn't like to be entertained? And
Right.
there is no shortage of options these days. But when I try to sit down, I try to learn something. I try to be a perpetual student, and I get that. I feel like being exposed to martial arts at a very young age and being that sponge and being humbled when you think you're the shit.
Right.
You know, there's so many parallels to life that I have learned from martial arts. And when I look at being harvesting the white belt mentality and carrying that with you in life, and no matter who the person is, you can learn something from them.
Right.
You can learn what not to be like.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can every opportunity, and if you look at every opportunity as an opportunity to learn, life can never get stale.
Right. Love that. How did you get into martial arts? Because you've been doing it since you were 5.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
So I mean, how does one get into this? I mean, how do you stumble? Do you see a Bruce Lee movie and be like, "Holy shit, I want to be like that guy"?
Yeah, man. I'm an '80s kid, right?
Yeah, me too, man.
Grew up with Ninja Turtles and
Yeah.
Bruce Lee movies, and I just had this internal calling, and I couldn't really describe it, but my parents told me that I just wouldn't shut up. Yeah,
Right.
I wouldn't shut up. I want to go into martial arts.
Yeah.
I want to learn how to kick. I want to learn. Mom, take me. And I'm a member of a family with 4 kids.
Right.
So my mom was a full-time mom, and bless her heart, because she had violin lessons to go to, and everybody got to pick one thing because 4 kids all doing extracurricular activities. Everybody gets to choose one. And I had a huge dilemma where all my friends were going into hockey, and I loved hockey too. I was playing roller hockey. We would play, do the cul-de-sac shimmy games, and all my friends were going into hockey, and I wanted to as well, but I also wanted to do martial arts. And my mom was like, listen, Erik, you have a choice. You can go into hockey with your friends, or you can go it alone and chase martial arts.
Right.
And I made the decision that I'm going to go into martial. If I have to pick, I'm going to do martial arts.
Martial arts.
And so I started in Taekwondo.
Oh, we just had the conversation.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Okay.
I started in Taekwondo. My dad found a spot, and he's
Did you pick Taekwondo? Or
No.
Or just like,
I-
you didn't know? You didn't
I'm
know?
5 years old. I don't know. I want to learn how to kick.
Kick, yeah.
And so
Well, that's
my
the
dad-
best one. Actually.
Right?
You got to learn how to kick.
Yeah. And so my dad was like, all right, I'm going to go help my son learn how to kick. Found a cool spot that
Yeah.
was kind of near his office.
Yeah.
And you probably know a lot of folks that aren't involved in martial arts, things like it's all the same,
Mhm.
right? Oh yeah. So Taekwondo, run it, do it, right?
Right.
And so got enrolled in there, and just it just ignited a fire inside of me, and it allowed me to harness the ability to focus and to be dedicated to something. And I remember one of the most powerful lessons that I struggled with so much, and it obviously, like all problems, they're mostly in our mind. And I trained when I was 5 all the way up to 10, 11, and as I would progress through these tests, everybody, I would get anxious for all tests,
Right.
school tests, martial arts tests, And I remember there was one test where I had to break a board and I had to jump over 4 kids and kick a board and all this. And I convinced myself that I couldn't do it. And I couldn't help but project into the future the embarrassment and the disappointment that I would be letting my master down. And I just didn't want to do that. I couldn't sleep. I remember crying. I almost was like, I don't even know what to do because I don't think I can do it. And I remember my dad being like, you want to know what you, like, he just gave me the best pep talk. He's like, you know what? You can do it. And even if you can't do it at your first attempt, you can figure out how to do it. And that helped because it made me think that there isn't only one shot. We can fail and we can correct and then we can go try again. You can back up, take a few steps back to run and jump over and get ahead.
It's just like pulling that arrow.
Yes.
You got to pull it back
Yes.
just to move forward.
100%.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. It's interesting because people, they determine their sex. They determine their success based off of whether they can fail or not, or that particular moment. I always tell people that failure, the word fail, F-A-I-L, stands for found another important lesson.
Ooh, I like that. Yeah. I'll hit you back.
Yeah, man. So found another important lesson. So if you are learning, if you're failing a lot, that means you're getting better.
Love it.
Right? Because you're learning new things, right?
All right. I will double down on because my acronym for fail is first action in learning.
Ooh, good.
Ooh.
I'm taking that. We'll do Tracy's, man.
Deal.
That's a good one. I like that.
Because really, the first action in learning is screwing something up. And having that mentality where you treat failure not as this complete disappointment that will gut you of your value, is instead an opportunity for growth to learn how not to do something. And we could rattle off 10,000 different stories of the successful people that have tried 10,000 times to, invent the light bulb. It goes on and on and on. And how many times have we heard that? And I find that it's often not until we experience it ourselves that it doesn't get solidified into our being.
Okay, hold that thought, because that's really good. So we're talking about failure here, and you said that it's only until you feel it yourself. So walk me through a situation where you got nailed and you felt failure, you felt flat on your face.
Yeah. Oh, man. Probably this. I've got a lot. I got a lot to choose from. But one that was the most painful, where I fought myself the hardest. I'm naturally a happy guy. It's my nature. And for the first time in my life, I got to experience depression. Never experienced. I mean, we've all had bad days. We've all had rough bouts.
And this is legit depression. You're like,
I couldn't get out of bed, man. I couldn't get out of bed.
Okay.
Everything hurt. And I'll burn through the story quick just to give some context. So I graduated from engineering, started a business. It blew up. Okay, I need to learn what I don't know. Went and got a real job and grew into this job and got my professional engineering designation. And while I had this job, I was involved in way too many side hustles.
Right.
I have always wanted to be an entrepreneur and run my own show and be the master of my destiny. And it's always been a core tenet of mine. And even though I was at a great job, phenomenal job, getting paid very well as an engineer, learning so much, but none of these side hustles were working. I would chalk up another L, or it just, it would take 2 years and no traction. And I convinced myself that part of the reason why none of these are working is because I have always had one foot in the boat and one foot on shore. And I said, you know what? Until I get both feet in the boat and take a leap, I'm not going to be who I know I am.
It's that saying, part-time effort gives you part-time results.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's interesting because there is a different school of thought, just like that book by Jack Welch, Winning. he says, hey, look, you don't have to go fully all in because a lot of the great entrepreneurs started off, easing their way into it. That's how Apple started.
Yep.
Right. They eased the guys in Google. Same thing.
Yeah.
So there's two trains of thought with going all in or easing into it. So you're saying it's better to go completely all in, burn the boats.
That's what I thought.
Okay.
That's what I thought.
Okay.
And so, that's what I convinced myself.
Right.
Well, obviously this isn't working because I don't have both feet in the boat. So let's burn the boat.
Yeah.
And so I remember submitting my resignation September 1st, 2014. I was going to create this app, and I had a programmer and raised a little bit of money and saved up some money. And when I look back, the mistakes are so obvious, but the money that I had saved was in what I knew, which was oil and gas. I was managing a portfolio of companies. I knew their operations. And so most of my wealth was invested in oil stocks. And we all know what happened in 2014. Oil completely tanked. Right. And right as a send-off for me, having a year's worth of capital saved up. So if I could basically go a year without having to worry about having to pay myself.
Right.
But when oil crashes and your savings go in half, and that year's worth of capital turns in 6 months, and 6 months comes real quick, and then a competing app comes out and crushes you, and then your investors pull, and then the world starts crumbling around you, and the anchor that I had of I can always go and get a big boy job. Right. I'm a professional engineer, super employable. I could go get a job anytime I want. Well, not when 100,000 Albertans are laid off.
Right.
And so having to get to the point where I'm at the ripe age of 30 and I had to cash out my RSPs just to eat, wondering what the hell is my next move, and getting to this place where I felt nothing but regret. I looked at my colleagues that were coasting through this downturn, making great money, and just being like, why did I do this? I shouldn't have done it, because I could have had that job and I could have been, not eating Costco hot dogs on the regular.
Right. Which isn't bad, by the way. If you're on a budget,
man,
$1.50 for a hot dog and a drink.
Can't go wrong. They served me well.
Yeah. They served their purpose there. Right?
Yes, absolutely. But I just beat myself up, and I felt like I was supposed to hit it. The reason I wasn't successful is because I didn't have both feet in the boat, and then I put both feet in the boat, and boat blows up. And I'm like, am I an entrepreneur? And so then all of a sudden you start questioning everything that you think you are, and then this downward spiral of negativity, and I didn't even see the sun shining. It hurt to get out of bed. Everything. I was a professional engineer fixing fences for cash. It hurt.
Yeah. Ego.
Humbling. Man, it just crushed it. But I remember the point where it was the bottom, like it was the depth, like it was the point where it started to rise. And I remember I was just loathing existence. I couldn't think straight, and shocker, I wasn't present at all, because all I was doing was rerunning the same things over and over in my head, convincing myself how terrible I was and what bad decisions I've made, and wondering, who am I? And I remember I can't even remember what I had to do, but I had to do something, and I had to get out of bed, and I got out, and I just was like this lethargic, dragging my ass out of bed, and just like, the best way to describe it is just a permanent feeling of sickness. It's like if you feel ill.
What was the tipping point to get you out of that state? Because there's a lot of people currently going through that right now.
Yes.
And the interesting thing is the number one salesperson in the world. Do you know who the number one salesperson in the world?
No.
It's doubt.
Ooh.
Because it has one product, and it's selling you 24 hours a day, 24/7. It's like nonstop doubt, doubt. The moment you start to have that imposter syndrome, like, am I supposed to be an entrepreneur?
Yes.
Do I have what it takes? Am I just a entrepreneur? Am I faking it? Right? Once you allow that to win, you're done.
Oh, and doubt is a great sales pitch because it can convince you.
Yeah, he has one product.
I like it. That's really cool. Yeah. So getting to the point that got me out was I was in the shower and I was just exhausted because I wasn't sleeping. You know, the best time to solve your problems is at 3 a.m. when you're in bed trying to sleep, right? That's when all the gears go. And so I was getting really terrible sleeps, and I was in the shower, and I remember just putting my hand on the side of the wall and just putting my head and just hanging my head, and just this, it was like the most intense feeling of like despair. And it overcame me, man. It literally took me over, and I passed out.
Really?
I collapsed
In the shower.
in the shower. I collapsed,
Oh, okay.
and I have no idea how long I was out. I didn't even know what time it was, whatever. But all I can remember was water hitting my face, and I start to kind of become aware that I'm lying naked in my shower with water hitting my face. And then all of a sudden I just my lungs fill with air, and I can feel my heartbeat, and I just sit there, and the water is hitting my face, and I'm just breathing. And for the first time in probably 6 months, all I was doing was being present and converging on the moment and feeling blood go through my veins, realizing that I'm alive. And I just had this thought, like, you know what? It felt powerful to have this heart pump blood through my body, and it felt powerful. And for the first time, I feel powerful is what I was thinking, and I hadn't thought like that in a long time. And I came to, I'm like, what the hell was that?
Yeah.
What was that? But
You hit pure theta state.
it was,
You're
yeah, had to be.
Yeah.
And there's no other way to describe it, is that it was this altered state. And I didn't know what the hell was going on. And I got out of the shower, and it was just different. It was different. Things looked different. I noticed the sun. The sun outside, and I heard birds chirping, and there I was. I threw on a robe, and I'm like, I don't know what to do with all this. I'm just going to make a cup of green tea. So there I am, sitting on my couch in a condo that I own, in a robe, sipping a hot cup of green tea. Okay. And I just felt gratitude. I felt gratitude. I'm like, how lucky am I to be sitting here now, alive, enjoying a cup of green tea, when how many less fortunate folks are out there that have it way worse than I have? What am I doing? And I kind of snapped out of it. Now, it was a point where that little instance of gratitude started to spill over into every day of my life. I started to become so grateful for the simplest things, spending time with my loved ones, going out for dinner with a friend. Oh my God, I can go out for dinner and enjoy someone's company and be in the moment and be present. How grateful am I for this experience? And it just changed my outlook. And I really do feel like that ego cracked and just let the true light start to shine. And that was, now don't get me wrong, it was a zigzag. Yeah. It was highs and lows, but the lows were higher and the highs were higher. It's like a stock chart that just went up and to the right, but it was a progression. And that instance, how can I not be grateful for a situation that gave me a mindset that has given me nothing but an abundant life? Now, I needed to go through that. Right. I needed to get corrected, because I was cocky. I'm going to go take over the world. Yeah. I'm going to pew, 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 shooting cowboy. Yeah. And I don't know how the universe works, but it was a lesson that I needed to learn. And I then learned about never questioning the reality of the moment. And even though the moment might be very dark, and it can be very difficult to say thank you for this moment when the world's falling apart, but it is gratitude that is such an unlock. It unlocks a key to life that I had not, that I didn't know existed.
Right. Yeah. You know, this whole idea of the attitude of gratitude can really change your perspective, right? And you start to think about, there are people around the world with less than half what we make, or like make a fraction of what we make, that are multiple times happier than we are.
Right.
When you start to think about the things you don't have, it's not enough.
Yes.
It's never going to be enough.
Comparison.
You can't do that, right?
Oh.
You know, it's tough though. But in social
It is.
media, it's almost difficult to compare. Difficult to get out of it, because all you're being bombarded with the best of what people are there to show. You're never going to see me post anything like when I'm down. It's always positive.
Of course.
But the reality is, once you understand that everyone's going to go through shit, everyone's going to go through some tough times.
It's life.
Yeah. I love it, man.
And no, nothing in nature is straight. Nothing goes just, it's ups, it's downs, it's flows, it's cycles of growth, it's cycles of regression. And so what I learned was, don't fight reality. Don't fight what is. Right. And I learned a lot of that from Eckhart's teachings.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting. I don't know if you're familiar with Stoicism.
Yes.
Yeah.
Love
so
it.
that's exactly what you're talking about, like amor fati and, you know, memento mori. Remember that we will all die.
Yes.
Right. Is this moment, if you're feeling shitty one day, is this in the grand scheme of things going to be the thing you're going to remember on your deathbed?
Right.
And do we focus on a thing that's really pissing us off? I try to find joy or a lesson or something. That love of fate.
Yes.
It's difficult though. It's really
difficult.
It's
so
to
difficult.
find that silver lining. It's good that you're able to do that. Do you have any practices that you currently do to maybe reinforce this sense of gratitude?
Every day.
What are you doing? Like
every day.
journaling?
Nope. It's part of my morning routine. Every day in my meditation, I just think about what's going on in my life that I can be thankful for. Even when shit is going wrong.
Right.
And things are falling apart. Every morning, that is how I start my day. I get up, I smash a liter of water. That's the first thing that I do. Right. And I highly recommend it. It will change people's life. Right when you wake up, top down, liter of water. I actually learned this morning routine from one of my teachers. His name is Sifu Singh. He's an amazing martial artist, and he has taught us so much. We met him through Budo Brothers.
Okay.
And he has this morning routine that he teaches SWAT, military, CIA, Secret Service, all kinds of high-performing individuals. And a big part of it is taking care of yourself, getting up a little earlier so that you can dedicate the first 90 minutes of your day to you. How hard is it to wake up, not check your phone, not check social media?
I was just going to mention that, because that was one of your routines, is that you don't look at your phone for the first hour.
It is so hard to do. And I can't do it all the time. There are times where it's like I miss, but I chalk it up. Okay. Yeah. Social media got me that time. You know, 'cause I had to check either we had a product launch or something. It's like, but it's also from a place of excitement. Like I got to check. Yeah. And so, but when you can take the first 90 minutes of your day and dedicate it to you and come up with a morning practice that works for you, where you do take care of yourself, you do take that first block of time. Sifu Singh calls it arriving before you leave. Arrive before you leave. Before you walk out the door, before you hit the snooze button, smash a coffee, and rush to your late meeting and wonder why your day piles up on you, can you get to a place of presence where you have taken the time to set the foundation for you to go crush your day on your terms? Right. And it's a different energy.
And that's just like waking up an hour earlier. Like, who is it? Robin Sharma, the 5 a.m. club.
Yes.
Says wake up at 5 a.m.
Yep.
By the time people are waking up at 6 or 7 or 8, you've accomplished a heck of a lot more. I'm all about routines. Anthony Robbins talks about routines a lot.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
One of the routines that I have is I've slowly been putting my phone like on the other side of the room.
Nice.
Because it's my alarm clock. It forces me to get out of bed to walk, to turn it off.
Yeah.
And before I would just be on my counter. I just lean over and you press snooze.
Right.
So now it's like I put it far away. So I get up, walk over there, and I'm like, okay, I'm up already. I might as well, I'm mentally there. But I think it's so important to have these routines.
100%, because in a world and a day and an age of uncertainty and chaos, I don't care who you are, no one has had life not change over the last year.
Right.
And a lot of people have either gotten ahead or fallen behind. And I really feel like 2020 was the year. It was like, it's equivalent to when nature needs to clear out the deadwood and there's a forest fire and it burns down beautiful trees that have been around for maybe 100 years, maybe a couple 100 years. But the fire is a part of nature. Forest fires, which we view as destruction, is actually a part of rejuvenation. Some seeds will not sprout until they've been scorched. And that's what we're seeing in 2020. A lot of these old structures and the old way of doing things is being scorched. And we're seeing these new seeds of innovation start to blossom. And we're in this first inning where there's all these new growth. And that's where for some people, 2020 was the best year of their lives. They saw the biggest increases. Their sales are through the roof. And then there's others that have been brought to their knees. Many a grown men have cried.
Oh, yeah.
In 2020.
We've seen massive depression, suicide rates have gone up. It's tough, right?
It is challenging.
And this is why I think martial arts is very important. That mental grit, that toughness. That you are unbreakable. You could bend, you're not going to break. Bamboo, being flexible. Being able to flow with the wind. Absolutely. Okay, let's segue into that flowing.
Sure.
Go back a few years ago, you guys have this idea to create this clothing company. You know nothing about the textile industry, the business, and you're like, okay, we're going to launch this clothing company. Like, how does that pop into one's mind? How did it start?
You know what? It actually wasn't even a clothing company. This was about 5 years ago, coming up on 5 years, My business partner, Kyle, and I, who's my best friend, we were training together, and on the mats, we were, and this is when I was coming off my loss. This was still while I was in the shits. And I had no capital. And I remember there was one day my sensei was talking about the power of martial arts and how Budo, which is the Japanese word, Bu means warrior, Do means way. The warrior's way, the way of the warrior, which is a path less traveled because it is usually fraught with challenge.
Is that similar to Bushido?
Bushido, right. So that's the
origins of it, right?
Right. So Budo is really embodying that warrior spirit of being able to willingly face adversity and come out a better person. And my sensei was giving this talk on how we as martial artists all come together to challenge each other on the mats and go through adversity, and how your Budo doesn't just live with you on the mats. You can take it out into the world. And we are all brothers in this journey. And Kyle came up to me and was like, man, that talk was fire. Like, we should start a company and call it Budo Brothers.
That's awesome.
And I'm like, well, okay, well, what is it going to be? It's like, oh, well, maybe we should be like the Lululemon of gis. I'm like, dude, what the hell do we know about gis and manufacturing? I'm like, listen, I'm all for this. I want to learn e-commerce. And that was kind of the origins, was we really want to learn how to sell something online. And so we're spitballing ideas. And so here was the pretense. We said, I can't lose any more money. And I could maybe round up $500 to throw at this thing. You probably could too. So it was
like $1,000 investment for your company.
$1,000 to get this started.
Worst case scenario is $1,000 lesson.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And so for $1,000, can we, this was the objective, this was the mission, for $1,000, can we sell something to someone that we do not know online? Can we do that? I don't know. What do we have to do in order to do that? Well, we can't hire anyone to build a website or create social pages. We can't pay them, so because we only have $1,000. Right. So the obstacle was the way. Yeah. And that's one of the biggest lessons that I've learned from Ryan Holiday.
Absolutely.
Man, yeah. And it's so true. The obstacle is the way. Yeah. And so for $1,000, I have no idea what we're going to sell. But in our art, ninjutsu, that we were training at the time, was really one of our key weapons is a 3-foot stick called a Hanbo. And so we found a wood whittler in Medicine Hat to fashion us up some dowels. We paid $200 to get one of our friends who's a designer who's incredibly talented, who went to work for Apple, designed us the Budo Brothers logo.
Right.
And so we spent $200 on logo, a couple $100 on incidentals, and then, $300-400 on some sticks. And then we had to learn the rest. I had a camera. Let's learn how to do some photography. Let's build a website. Let's learn how to do that. Let's learn how to fire up a social media account with one follower.
Right.
And start hashtagging.
Right.
And just see where it goes. And I remember when we got our first sale. And it was a first sale of someone that we did not know. And we just sellied. We're like, we did it. We did it.
Yeah.
Let's keep going. And so that 1,000 turned into 2, into 4, into 8, into 16. And we uncovered this massively underserved niche. We didn't do market research on who the top competitors for 3-foot sticks on the internet was.
Right.
We just looked at it as an opportunity to learn and grow. And it just so happened that we uncovered a community that we didn't know existed. And that community continued to support us and put fuel on our flame, which made us grow, which gave us more creative ideas.
Right.
And then it was just one day when we were training and I was outside and I was a little chilly. I thought I was wearing my hoodie, but I was actually wearing my gi, and I went to go throw my hood on, but I was wearing my gi, and I was like, the hood gi. And that was when we became a lifestyle brand with like clothing, and we designed this cool gi that's a hoodie.
Right.
So you can rock your passion wherever you go.
So explain, for people listening to this who don't know martial arts, what is a gi?
A gi is a martial arts uniform.
Right.
It's what you don when you're about to step on the mats. And so they're really rugged, beautiful material.
It looks pretty high end, man.
Definitely. Thank you for saying so. Yeah. And so we had no idea what we were doing with textiles or anything, and we didn't know the first thing about manufacturing. And luckily I had gotten a job that was with Tundra. I was started out being a consultant, and I had some vacation days, and we were like, you know what, let's go learn the clothing manufacturing game. And Kyle was like, yeah, I heard Vietnam's doing kind of the up and comer. Let's go there. All right, let's book a trip. And
you've never been to Vietnam?
Never been to Vietnam. Didn't call anyone. We literally were just 2 dudes, touched down in Vietnam, and we filmed the whole thing too. Yeah. And we're just like, all right, let's go knock on some doors. And sure enough, we knocked on a bunch of doors. We got a great facility set up, and that was kind of the birth of the clothing line, and us really morphing into this lifestyle brand. And we were doing everything. I was fulfilling orders in my condo when I got home from work, and literally my condo looks like a industrial wasteland. Yeah. And we got to this point where we wanted to continue to grow, but couldn't really grow anymore inside our condo. And that's what got us into this digital game where we're selling online courses, online martial arts courses, helping practitioners that have spent their life perfecting their art, who have a PhD in their style or system, that have gifts that aren't being distributed to the world, where we have built this community that's thirsty for knowledge and thirsty to learn from masters. We're like, this is a no-brainer. Let's go try and do it. And actually, Sifu Singh was one of our first instructors that we did a digital seminar with, and launched it. And that has opened an entire new side of our business. So it's really, really cool. The journey's wild.
You have what, over 100,000 followers, something like that, in all your profiles?
Yeah, I can't remember where we're at, but
you're there.
Yeah, right? we've got
from 1 to, and that's huge.
Exactly.
That's massive, right?
Yes.
Tell me, what does service mean to you?
It is a driving force in my life. Service is, for me, and I realized this while I was in meditation. And I meditate in the shower. I know it's kind of weird, but
that's time to meditate.
You know what? It's the last place on earth that you can't. Ba-ding! Yeah. You can't. There's no phones. There's no nothing. There's no signals. No one's. Hey, you're in the shower. You're like, you can't. Is
it a cold shower or hot shower?
I do a 60 to 2 minute, a 60 second to 2 minute cold shower every day.
Good.
To try it, but man, that took a while to get used to as well.
That's a fairly long time, man.
It is.
2 minutes cold water.
Yeah, 2 minutes cold, and as cold as she goes. Yep. And I sit there and I just breathe. And man, it's powerful. My energy levels are higher, and I know all the science proves all this, and I hated it. I still hate it. Yeah. But what a good opportunity to lean into accepting what is. Right now, there's cold water on me. I don't like it, but I'm allowing it to happen.
Right.
You know, and it's right away. You start your day with a win. You didn't want to do it, but you did it.
Yeah.
You know, really, really great. So I start my day with this meditation. And one day in my meditation, I just was thinking about, like, what are my driving forces? What drives me? And when am I at my best? When am I at my absolute best? And I would look, I just looked at it. I'm like, where am I? Where does time not exist? Where is it where you're just in that beautiful space? And it's when I am creating, when I'm being creative, when I'm sketching out ideas for new products, creating a cool video, creating an experience. When I'm creating, I'm at my best. So that's a core principle of mine. I need to create. When else am I at my best? When do I feel great? It's when I'm serving people, when I'm serving my customers, when I'm serving my community, when I'm helping people that need it. It feels amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I ask myself, when do I feel at my best? I feel my best when I'm creating, when I'm serving, and then where else do I get this crazy high that you can't bottle? It's when I'm inspiring people. When I get to talk and share stories that inspire other people and I can see that it's lighting a spark inside of them, I feel good. So my 3 core pillars are create, serve, inspire. And if I'm not doing those 3 things, I'm not doing life right.
Mm-hmm. That's huge, because you came from a place where you're trying to figure yourself out. You're lost. You have this imposter syndrome. And I think it was Gandhi said the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others.
Powerful words, man.
And that's exactly what you did. You start to serve others, and you start to find out what makes you happy and what you're doing, what energizes you.
Yes.
I think people need that. I think people need to feel that energy.
And when you realize that it's not about you and you drop the stories, life becomes incredibly fulfilling and enjoyable.
You know, I'm going to shift gears just a little bit because I want to focus on something that some people might not know about you.
Okay.
Tell me why you got the name that you are a thread Nazi.
Oh, so that is so quality is a huge core tenet of Budo Brothers.
Okay. And
I've become the same level of detail that has allowed me to focus. I'm focusing on quality. And so anytime every product that we send out through Budo Brothers is inspected and packaged by Kyle or myself.
Still, even though you've grown so big.
Absolutely.
Hand-packed. Right?
Everything.
Labor of love.
And you want to know what it is? It's the essence that we put into the product is the exact essence that emanates out of it. And as soon as we outsource that, that is gone. It is our key to success. And we have recently become very clear on who we are, what Budo Brothers is, and what we're not. Budo Brothers is not going to be a Nike. We have no interest in being a Nike and taking over the world and having 300 fleshy problems to deal with employees. Right. Okay. The magic to our success is both Kyle and I tapping into the authenticity that we are and sharing amazing stories of martial artists, creating cool products. Just us being us has worked. So we can't screw with that. Right. And when we look at it, we want to become what we are. We want to remain an indie brand. We want to be a permanent indie brand.
Wow.
When we're sold out, we're sold out. Right. Yeah, we made 200 of these. And when they're gone, they're gone.
Right.
And sorry, the obstacle is the way. Again, we could reach supply and demand and do 10,000 units and have distribution centers all over the world and all the headaches that would ruin this experience for us.
It's truly authentic. Like you are 100% authentic and you haven't sold out. So is this true? So what I heard is that when you see a thread,
yes,
cut the thread,
yes,
and then you collect it,
yes,
and you roll it into a ball,
yes,
and you take a picture,
yes,
and you send it to a manufacturer.
Oh,
why do you do that?
My manufacturers hate me because I am just, and you know what? I expect a level I want the owners of their business to care as much about their business as I care about mine. And when I see a product with threads hanging off of it, or incomplete, just sloppy, it infuriates me.
So what happens when it doesn't make the cut? You throw it away, or what?
We donate it. We have, and even to this day. I mean, there are a lot of fly folks out there. We've donated batches of clothing, yes, that did not meet our quality standards. Wow. We have outfitted the Dream Center. There's a lot of really awesome sweaters being rocked by folks at the Dream Center. Wow. And it's just, you know what? I would rather write off the 20 grand or whatever it is and maintain, because that is short-term thinking is, it'll pass. And a customer gets it and is like, I don't know. And then you've lost them for life.
Tell me, what is I heard you took a lot of stick pics.
Yes, stick pics.
Because chicks dig stick pics. Right?
Yes. And
so what does that mean?
So that was the joke that we made, because we literally started a company by taking pictures of sticks and putting them on the internet and sliding into a few DMs with a stick pic.
Love it. That's awesome, man.
So that's really how we got started.
Yeah, there's humor behind your journey. There's adventure. There's humility. There's a lot of different things. There are 100 million people. Close to 100 million people in Vietnam, 60 million motorbikes in Vietnam. Walk me through the video that I saw in your film. You're like, I'm going to walk across the street.
Yes.
So,
oh, man.
Like, we might get hit.
So when we arrived, we had never been in Vietnam, and I've never seen organized chaos like the streets of Ho Chi Minh City. Mm-hmm. It's until you've actually seen it, and you actually see how it's like a flock of birds. They all move, but they don't hit each other, and you're like, how does that work? And we're taught from such a young age to look both ways before you cross the street. Make sure it's safe. So it's just been ingrained into your DNA that you wait for the clearing and then you go. But if you do that, you will not cross the street in Vietnam. And so here, Kyle and I would be standing on the street and be like waiting for a clearing. Like, I don't know, man, we might be here for like an hour, because it's just a steady stream of motorbikes and cars and just honking, and just how do you, like, this is a crosswalk, but there's no lights. Right. And so you're like, well, do we have the right of way? Like, how does this work? And then locals would just be like, no, they'd be on their phone, not even looking, just walk right through, and so like, how did they not die? how are they still alive? Yeah. And so we just, I guess that's how you do it. Right. And so we busted out the camera, like, all right, I guess we're going to do this. So the key is to go on your own journey, because other people will recognize that you're on your own trajectory. And if you stick to that trajectory, you're not going to cross paths with another person's, and so you don't collide because you're second guessing. Oh, do I wait? Oh, you go. Oh, how many times have you stopped in someone when you're in the hallway awkward. And you're like, you both turn the same way, and then you're like, and then you both turn the same way. And you're like, oh wait, and then it's this weird awkward like, okay, you know what? Someone make a decision and roll with it, and it's so wild, and it goes against every intuition that you have. But if you just stick to your own path, you don't get hit. And I think that's a cool lesson.
I think the lesson also is that just take the plunge. Just do it.
Go.
Right? If you start to think about things that haven't happened yet, I'm going to hit by, like, it hasn't happened. I'm scared to walk across the street because I'm going to smash by a car. Mm-hmm. You're never going to do those things. And that's fear.
Yes.
Right? And so it is scary walking across. I was in Cambodia, same experience. I was like, holy shit, this is scary. Yeah. And I did the same thing. I was like, okay, I'm going to walk across. And it was scary, but you just do it, man.
Yeah.
Right?
You go. You take the leap, and you learn whatever comes is the outcome that you're given. Mm-hmm. And how you deal with that will dictate how you proceed. Right. I feel like every little obstacle is like a test. It's like you choose your own adventure. Right. Remember, do you ever read those books when you were a kid? You're like, you could turn left or you can turn right.
I would be the guy that cheated. I'd go back like, I didn't mean that decision.
This one's better. This one's better. Yeah, totally. But that's what all these obstacles that show up in our life, we can choose to focus on how shitty it is and how it's someone else's fault and da 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 da. Or we can be like, all right, this is the situation. We can remove the emotion. We can look at it as it is.
Right.
Drop the story. What is happening right now? There's two dudes talking with mics and a headset.
Right.
There's no story. It's just us.
Yeah.
And so when you look at things often, we are drinking fermented grapes. This could be a $200 bottle of wine with a really cool story about how it's fermented in oak casks for 5 years and cool story.
Right.
The reality is it's rotten grapes.
Right.
Grape drank.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you like it or you not? Is it bringing you enjoyment or is it not?
Right.
And how often, and they've done this in blind taste test studies, where they will have these vodka connoisseurs pick Smirnoff over Grey Goose,
Right.
because the story's not there. Right. When you expect something, this is obviously perception has a role in playing into the experience that you have, but there's a power in just looking at things as they are, and it's difficult to do. Because we're emotional beings. Right. We're storytellers. And so it is difficult to drop the story and look at things as they are. But when you often do, and you drop the story and you look at things that are, life is a lot more simple than we make it.
Right. Stories are meant to be passed from generation to generation. That's how that's how information was passed on. What does Keith Allan mean to you?
He's my mentor. He's my father. He's the man that has allowed me to fail. He's allowed me to learn and become my own man. And even though at the time, I mean, my dad and I, when I was a teenager, he was enemy number one. Because I was a badass troublemaker, shit skateboarder. Dude, I was a loose cannon. And we would butt heads all the time.
He gave you one of the biggest gifts. What was that gift?
Countless gifts, man. And one that is really impactful in my story and it kind of ties back to the shower incident when I was down on my luck. And now I could be raised in affluence and I could have things given to me, but this is one thing that I learned from my dad that I am so grateful for, was the power of hard work and having to put in the work to get the result. And that you're not entitled to anything. Oh, cool. You want a fancy Civic with a whole bunch of stupid rims and get a job.
Right.
I'm not going to buy you your 18s and a woofer. If you want to spend your money on dumb things, go get a job.
Because that's a huge gift, because he gave you the gift of resiliency. We were talking about this earlier before the show even started. There are a lot of wealthy people, and your father's, he's well-to-do.
Yeah, absolutely.
But he never spoiled you.
No.
There are a lot of people who, as parents, think loving a child is spoiling them, but they're depriving them of that grit, that character.
Yes.
And you could see that. It's interesting, as your dad was working on my mouth one day.
Yeah, he's a dentist, for those who don't know.
For those who don't know. He's working on my mouth. And for a full hour, all he was talking about you.
Really?
Yeah, man.
Wow.
That's the reason why we connected. He goes, you got to talk to my son.
And I remember him hitting me up. He's like, listen, I met this amazing guy. You got to meet him. He's ambitious. He's like you. He's a da-da-da. You guys would hit it off. And sure enough, we did.
Awesome, right? Yes. So if there's one thing you could say to your dad, what would you tell him, like in the camera?
Thank you for everything you've taught me, because I am who I am because of you. That's it. That's as plain as simple. I mean, he has allowed, but I can't. I'm very blessed. I come from a family unit that's very strong. I would be nothing without my mother.
Yeah.
My mom I should have been drugged. I should have been on every ADHD medication on the planet. You think I have high energy now? Imagine me 8.
Right.
And all the teachers are saying he doesn't da 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 da. And she was this dome of protection because she saw the potential, and she allowed me to be who I am. And it never diluted the core of my being by trying to ask me to be somebody who I'm not.
Right.
And so the combination of a strong woman and a powerful man in a family unit that loves and supports each other, that's what I'm the product of.
Love it. Love it. I absolutely love that. You know, we talked about your parents. There are so many different mentors. Those are great mentors. You describe your dad as a mentor. Name me like 2 other mentors that have impacted your life.
There's so many. One of my sensei is an incredible mentor of mine. Right. He's such a purveyor of wisdom, and he's on my personal board of directors.
Love it.
And he teaches me so much, not just physically, martial arts and this, but he is sensei. The Japanese word for sensei translates to those who have gone before. Mm-hmm. Those who have traveled a path and has some knowledge. They've got some wisdom. And if you're lucky to be a student and actually absorb the lessons that they have learned and bring them into your pouch, right, where those lessons can serve you, again, you have to have a student's mentality, mm-hmm, and hunger to learn. Because there's nothing worse than, actually a good quote, you cannot learn that which you think you already know.
Love it.
You cannot learn what you think you already know.
Absolutely.
And there is a temptation to use knowledge as I know this and blah, 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 blah. But boy, if you can just switch that off and be a sponge, mm-hmm, the lessons you can learn, the ability to extract wisdom from every situation in life, it's a hack.
You mentioned that, you got into martial arts at a very young age. You knew this was your path. You had good mentorship, and you're saying, imagine you at 8 years old, you would have been all off the wall.
Yeah.
Explain this to me. What is going through your mind in this picture? Like,
yes. Okay.
Because the caption there on Instagram is that you knew that you wanted to be a martial artist.
Yes.
I saw that. I'm like, he's going to be a Chippendales dancer, man. So I was like,
so funny, man.
Like, there's no martial arts there, man.
Oh, look at that. I'm ready to scrap. So I remember this is actually when I was training for a belt test, and I was doing a bunch of conditioning. Now, I have been a runt my entire life. I was always the small kid. I was always just the tiny guy, a small frame and just lighter than a feather. And I remember when I was training for this belt test, and my body started to change a little bit. I had never had any sort of remote resemblance of a muscle definition or anything. And I was working really hard. I was very dedicated to passing this test and getting to the next level and overcoming these challenges. And my mom one day was like, Erik, you're getting muscles. You're getting muscles. And I'm like, am I? No way. So like she was like, I have to get a picture. So that was I'm standing in my kitchen. She's like, flex, show
flex,
yes,
like shaking.
I'm here in my tighty whitey.
So explain what's going through your mind here, because this is such an amazing picture. Your face there, and this is their first sword.
Yes. Right? Man, I must have been 11, 12 years old.
You
there.
look like MacGyver.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, you know that TV show?
Yeah.
The guy who just solves problems with a needle and thread or whatever it is.
I had
hair, you had a great hair game then.
Oh dude, that's like JTT style, Home Improvement, right?
Oh yeah, Jonathan Taylor Thomas. Yes.
So that was for my birthday, and I had been obsessed with weapons.
Right.
Ninja weapons and knives, and I would collect pocket knives, and I would go carve spears and bow and arrows.
Did you do the popsicle sticks? Do you
Always. Oh man, all of it. And so I remember asking, like, there's nothing I want more than a samurai sword.
At 11 years old.
10 or 11, something like that. And I remember the look on my parents' face were like, you're not getting a samurai. Listen, there's no way. Okay. Right. samurai swords is where we draw the line. You can
Right.
collect your pocket knives. You've sliced yourself open, a half dozen times. We've paid for enough stitches. We're not getting you a samurai sword
Right.
because either your brother's arm will get cut off.
You could get your red rifle. You remember those guns?
Yeah.
Those what's that movie? The Christmas Story.
Yes.
Ralphie, you're gonna shoot your eye out.
Exactly. Same thing.
So they got your sword.
Well, I wasn't expecting it because I just wrote it off. I'm like, well, yeah, that's a no-fly zone.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, a kid can dream. And when that dream came true, that was that expression, man. I'm unveiling
The sword.
and it's just like it's just tapping into that original calling of the martial artist that is inside me,
Right.
and leaning into that. And then it's a shocker why all of a sudden all of the crazy startup ideas that I've tried that have never worked, and when I get back to my first earnest intention, things work. And that was actually advice from from my sensei. He said, never forget your first earnest intention, the first intention that you can remember that you need to do. You've been put on here to do this.
You mentioned a word in that 2-minute there.
Yeah.
You talked about dreams.
Yes.
Right? Here's a guy that dreams big.
Yeah.
That's you and who's that guy?
Richard Branson. Yeah, that was that.
That's you and Richard Branson.
Yes. That was at Energy Disruptors. So really cool venue.
Who has a better hair game, you or him?
I got him killed.
Because that's a cool pick.
I'd love to pretend like we broed out. Like, listen, I'm in a group shot with
But
Richard Branson.
you know he's there.
Hey, he's there.
You're 2 degrees physically of separation from us.
Absolutely.
So, or
and
3 degrees.
And
right?
the reality is, we all are only a few degrees of separation, and we're all just humans. He's just a cool dude that stuck to his gifts, passion, and purpose and shared it with the world, and he's really successful. And he shared a lot of that.
Who's your favorite Ninja Turtle?
Leonardo. I had a turtle named Leonardo.
Oh, is that right?
No
I
joke.
would have thought it would have been Donatello because you have the bow, the staff. That's your shit, right?
Oh, man. Leonardo was the leader, and
Yeah, man.
the swords. Yeah, see, Leonardo.
Leonardo.
Yeah, you went deep.
I got one more picture.
All
that
right.
I all of these I could kind of figure out what was going through your mind,
Sure.
except for one.
Okay.
There's one,
All right, let's hit it.
and I have no clue
All right, let's go.
what it means. What the fuck?
Okay, yeah. Clearly confusing.
Like-
So, what the hell's going on there?
So, guys, if you can, we're gonna flash this up on the screen
Yes.
in the interview. But,
Yes. So, a really good friend of mine asked me to marry him and his wife.
Okay.
And so, I mean, I'm not an official. I don't know what they call it. I'm not a minister.
Yeah, minister. Yeah.
But apparently, if you have a minister present, somebody else can do the whole, I now pronounce you man and wife.
Right.
And so he asked me to be the one that marries. That they're still together to this day. Chris Popoff, such a beauty.
Okay.
He's like just a legend. And
So this is you in the.
and I made this joke because he said, listen, Eric, you can be creative if you like. If you want to make it funny, you want to make it creative, that'd be great.
Mhm.
I'm like, sure. And so somebody had this horse head at the wedding,
Right.
and I was pitching his wife on letting me run the ceremony in a horse head.
Right.
And of course, that was a joke. I wouldn't actually do it. But she was just like, not having, of course. And everybody thought it was just a stupid joke, which it was. But I said, listen, this is too funny not to take a picture.
Right.
Because it would have been hilarious if it actually went through.
Right.
And so they snapped this picture, and I can't remember what the caption was. I just wanted to.
You know what the caption was?
What was it?
No caption.
No caption.
That's what it said.
No
That was the
caption necessary.
No
Yep.
caption necessary.
Yep.
I'm like, I gotta ask him.
What
man.
the hell?
What
What the hell's going on? Yeah, and so these dudes are like, "Yo, let's pretend like it's some weird blessing thing."
weird like cult or something.
Yes,
What's going on
exactly.
here?
Yeah,
So-
I do random things like that.
You know what? And the great thing is that you have the ability to be like, hey, you're experiencing the moment, right? You have some good times and
Yeah,
bad times.
absolutely. Go with the flow.
And you go with the flow. So speaking of which, we're
Yes.
at this stage called the Rise Round. I don't
Okay.
know if I told you about the Rise
No,
Round.
no. What's the rise round?
So the Rise Round is a moment where you are fully in the moment, and I'm just gonna pop you questions.
Cool.
Don't think, just answer.
Go.
Right. And these are the questions
Sure.
that the audience really want to know
Nice.
about you.
Cool.
So it's pretty deep, man. You ready?
Ooh, let's go.
Okay. Okay, so welcome to the Rise round. You ready?
Let's
Ready,
go.
Set, rise. Let's go. Number 1, you have a huge personality, which obviously resonates online. Most people would say that personality is a superpower. If you were to have a superpower, what would your superpower be?
Controlling time.
Oh, interesting. Wow.
The ability to
Interesting. Why?
control time. Imagine the superpower of being able to fast forward, rewind, change things, slow moments down and savor. And you know what is so amazing about time is that it is our most precious gift. And if you could control it, if you could control your most precious gift, that is the ultimate superpower. At least that's the first thing that came to my mind.
Okay. Number 2, you have the face, abs, and hair of a model. How much money would you accept to be on the cover of a cheesy romance novel?
Zero.
Zero.
Not for sale. Not for sale.
Fabio retired.
Yeah,
So that's like
no.
opening
It's
there.
just not my game, man. And you know what? I really appreciate it.
No price? No price?
No, I honestly, and I look at the gifts that I've been blessed with, and that's never one that I want to cash in on.
Okay, cool. I love the honesty. Number 3, okay, you've traveled all around the world. You've been to Vietnam. In Vietnam, there's actually a coffee with egg in it. I don't know if you've tried it, but this is a weird thing
Okay.
you've tried. In the Philippines, we have something called balut. And balut is essentially a fetus, a duck fetus that's almost about to hatch.
I've
and-
heard of
and
this.
you eat it. It was actually on Fear Factor. So it's delicious, by the way.
No way.
Yeah.
That can't be true.
It is. You got to try it one day. I should have brought some for you.
Okay.
What is the most exotic thing you've ever eaten?
Ooh, most exotic thing that I've ever eaten. I took a shot of this like snake liquor.
Right.
Oh, like a there was a snake,
Snake in there?
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called, but it was
Did it feel like Cobra Kai? Or
Yeah,
like,
it's supposed to be like you
Is
know,
that right? Make
good
it- oh,
good for your libido.
Interesting.
But hey, I tried it and I was just, what? But that's as exotic as I've gotten. And I've got a wide open mindset when it comes to trying new things.
Cool. If you could host board game night with any 5 famous people in the world, who would you invite?
Whoa, 5.
5
That's a big list. 5 famous people.
famous people in the
Cool.
world.
All right.
Like this is going to be an epic
Sure.
board game.
Yeah. Okay. You know, I'd love to have Joe Rogan. He's such a legend.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I'd have Elon Musk in there.
Because he's awkward.
Well, just to tap into his mind. We probably wouldn't be playing much games.
Right. Okay.
You know.
So there's Joe. There's
Yep.
Elon.
Yep.
Who else is there?
Who else would I really want to play a board game with?
Anyone in the world, living or dead?
Living or dead?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I can
You got
go
a time
deep,
machine, dude.
Yes.
Come
Okay.
on. Yeah,
all
I mean,
right.
you have
All right.
superpowers.
Well, then Bruce Lee's going to be there.
Oh, Bruce Lee. Okay.
Yes, he's going to be
Interesting.
quick on the draw for sure.
Right. Okay,
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
You got 2 more.
Two more in the chamber. Who else would I have? You know what? Let's throw someone way back.
Okay, go for it.
Let's get Jesus Christ in there.
Oh, but then it's like he knew what the destiny of the game. Like you can't win.
Okay,
against Jesus Christ.
I'm just throwing out
Yeah,
there.
okay.
Hey, I would like to meet a sage. Why not?
How about The Rock?
Yeah,
It'd be interesting.
maybe interesting. It wouldn't be my pick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, he's a wicked dude. He's accomplished a lot, but like, you know, I don't know.
Muhammad Ali.
Yeah, now we're
Muhammad-
talking.
Yeah. Muhammad at his peak.
Yeah,
Like when he was really
in his
meant
prime.
something. Yeah,
yes,
yeah. Muhammad would be good.
Yeah.
Muhammad Ali would be awesome.
That would be a wild board game. Muhammad Ali, Jesus Christ, Joe Rogan, Elon Musk, and Bruce Lee.
Bruce Lee. You know, I wouldn't mind having Barack Obama. I think he's just a
Yep.
slick
He's
dude.
quite an eloquent man.
Yeah, everyone's just like, man, you're so cool. Just talk. We'll just,
Go.
Just talk.
I would not be playing a game there.
Yeah, I'll just be listening to him the
Yeah,
entire
yeah.
time. All right, who wins in a fight, Bruce Lee, Jet Li, or Jackie Chan?
Bruce Lee.
Oof.
Yeah,
Really?
fact. Yeah.
Versus Jet Li?
Yeah,
Jet Li's won like
yeah.
50 bare knuckle fights.
Yeah, I think Bruce
All
Lee's
right.
got it, man. He was a savant.
He was. If there was a zombie apocalypse, what's one weapon you can't live without?
Budo Brothers Hanbo.
Really?
It's
you
my
wouldn't-
jam.
You wouldn't get a sword?
Dude, I mean, listen,
Zombie
if it's a
apocalypse.
zombie apocalypse, I'm going to die. So I might as well die
Yeah.
looking flashy, spinning my favorite weapon.
So you're not a fan of movies, right?
No, I love movies.
Have you seen
Yes.
the movie Expendables?
No.
So Expendables is essentially all of these guys growing up in the 80s. They're action stars. So action stars like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone, a bunch of guys, like dudes together. If you could do the Expendables martial arts edition, what 5 guys essentially create the Avengers? What 5 guys in the 80s and 90s era?
Oh.
Because that was the peak
man.
of martial arts movies. Man.
Yeah.
It was blood sports, kickboxer.
Yep.
Who?
Jackie Chan's got to be in there.
Right.
Man, I have seen every Jackie Chan movie.
All right.
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yep.
Oh,
Jean-Claude for sure.
One of my heroes.
Absolutely. He's going to show his ass for no reason once a movie.
That flow, that mullet.
The mullet? Yeah.
I had the most... I tried to emulate that. Like,
it's a thing of beauty.
I would wear tight jeans. Get it. Yes.
Then he tried to start act. He tried to act. It's like,
so
go
good.
back to the
Yes. Oh.
Okay, so you got Jackie Chan, Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yes.
What else you got?
How many am I picking here?
5.
Man, this is just too long. This is too many.
4.
4.
I'll toss in a couple names.
Okay, go.
Shokazuki.
I didn't even know.
Do you know
who that is.
Shokazuki?
No.
He's a ninja. Shokazuki, he was like a Japanese ninja. He's
Okay. I got to check him out.
Steven Seagal. Will you toss in Steven?
Yeah, I mean, he's cool.
Just because he's the guy that's going to die first.
Sure. Back in the day, absolutely. Like, Steven Seagal now, I don't know, man.
No, this is back in their prime.
In their prime. Okay, Steven Seagal, go. Yeah,
Do you know
sure.
Jeff Speakman?
Nope.
Jeff Speakman was in a movie called The Perfect Weapon.
Okay.
And it was all about Cali sticks.
Really?
Sick.
In the 80s?
In the 80s.
No
It was a B movie,
way.
though. That's what most people don't know about.
Wow.
Yeah, Google Perfect Weapon.
I'm going to be watching that
tonight. And people were
tonight.
accusing him of that he was too fast, that he sped up the film, that he was so fast. Kempo karate.
Okay, yep.
And he took Cali sticks and
Yeah. How about that? Crazy. Yeah, I mean.
Bolo Young.
Oh, man.
Bolo. You need some guy to
Bolo. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
If your life was a movie, what would you name it?
The Journey.
The Journey.
The Journey. Because that's what it is. It's just this path. And it's this thing that continues on. And I don't know where it's going to take me. I don't know where it's going to take me. I don't know where it's going to go. I don't know where it's going to end. But it's a journey. And I'm along for the ride. And I'm ready to go.
Awesome. Speaking of movies, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was remade 5 times. So settle the debate. Does pineapple belong on pizza?
100%.
Really?
Love. Pineapple on pizza for days. Load it up. Yeah. Put it on there. Yeah. Chop it up. I'm a Hawaiian fan.
There's a big debate right now. They're saying it does not belong there.
Oof. You know what? Okay. You can
tough one.
Put me in the pineapple column.
Okay, I'm going to read 4 life codes of conduct.
Okay.
From martial arts.
Awesome.
And you just have to guess who said it.
Who said it?
A great man.
Whoa.
So there's 4 of them. So I'm going to say one, and then after you can guess, I'll say another one. You could guess. It's the same guy who said it. So I'm going to give you 4 chances, okay?
So it's the same dude who said all 4?
Yeah, but as you know.
Okay, so I got to hear all of them first?
No, I'm just going to say one. You can guess.
Okay.
I want to see if you can guess it.
All right.
First one is rule of life. Okay, here it is. Number 1. There is no right or wrong, only choices. Choose wisely.
That's a good one.
Great martial art master, mentor said it.
Man, it could be so many people.
Okay.
Bruce Lee.
Nope.
Okay,
number 2.
Okay.
Use reason, not force. Anger is self-destruction.
Man, these are all just core martial art. Like, so many have said this.
You'll get it.
Okay.
So pass on that one.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I don't have
number.
it.
No, option number
there's got to
3.
be a good hint because these are all like real core.
Okay, here. You might get this. Family first and family last. Nothing in between.
Family first, family last. Nothing in between. I haven't heard any of these. But
this is the last one.
Okay, all right, go. I love it.
No skateboarding in the lair.
Master Splinter. Yes, there we go. That was the giveaway. That was the giveaway.
Like you realize, wow, Master Splinter was so good.
He was an OG.
He was dropping gems.
Absolutely throughout the. And honestly, man, have you watched the original Ninja Turtles again?
No.
Like in your adult years?
No, is it good?
It's amazing. It's the biggest nostalgic throwback.
Yeah.
And they're works of art. I also think in this era of cancel culture and Dr. Seuss needs to be, done away with.
Right.
There is and this is proof. Right now, my parents, we lived out in Bragg Creek. We didn't have satellite and all this. VHS was our play.
Right.
We have a vault of thousands of VHS players.
Right.
And right now, we're trying to get a VHS player. There is a resurgence. You can't get one. I went to 3 pawn shops last week trying to find, like, yeah. And even the pawn shops are like, as soon as we get them, they're gone.
Really?
VHS is making the biggest comeback. And the reason being, I really feel like it's each little cassette is a time capsule. A lot of these movies will never be able to be made again.
You can't find them,
or they're going to be so outrageous that it goes against And why isn't a trans person playing a da 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 and all these other crazy things? Like now, all of a sudden, we're not looking at talent and we're looking at surface anomalies. It's just. I really feel like people are going to look back and be like, "Whoa, that was a time where you could just you could make art. You could, but you could make art." And don't get me wrong, there's lots of things that were wrong with our past. Right. But to try to delete and delete the past, and it's wild. But without going into too much of a rabbit hole, VHS are making a comeback.
Cool. Rank in terms of best to worst skateboarders: Tony Hawk, Marty McFly, Michelangelo of Ninja Turtles, Bart Simpson. Best to worst.
Ooh, best to worst. Tony Hawk's the legend. I mean, the 720, he was a pioneer.
Okay.
Pioneer.
Who's number 2?
Yes. Okay, so now we're going into fictional territory.
They were real for me as a kid, dude. They were real. Yeah. Don't tell me Santa Claus doesn't exist.
All right, so the sewers, I'd have to give it to the Ninja Turtles because, man, and
that's true.
The Foot Clan had game too. They were true, yeah. Skateboarding, and this was back. And honestly, man, that was a big part of my inspiration for skateboarding. Was like, man, back when.
Okay, so Michelangelo,
Mike. I'd put Michelangelo second there, and then Bart Simpson. He could shred. I mean, he would go down 12 steps.
Marty McFly.
We're hoverboard material. That's
come on. He was living in the future, past and present.
True.
He had your powers.
And
you're giving him number 4?
He had the worst steez, man. He never did any tricks. He just floated around.
He grabbed on a car.
True, but
that's balls. Who does that?
Yeah, on a hoverboard. I give him that, but still, rank number 4.
Celebrity crush. Who do you got?
Celebrity crush. Jennifer Aniston. She's always had
old school,
she's always had a place in my heart.
She's cool.
She's such a
ageless,
lovely, beautiful woman.
If you could have one person mentor you in this world, who would it be? And what's one question you would ask them?
I'm so grateful for all the mentors that I have that I can't help but this one's a tough one, because mentors are such I really feel like it's so important to have a real personal connection with your mentors because they know who you are. And somebody that doesn't know who you are isn't going to give you the same advice because they don't understand where you're coming from. So I'm drawing a bit of a blank because I'm not.
What if, let me rephrase it.
Sure.
What if you can have one dinner, an intimate dinner with one person in the world, ask them any questions, who would it be?
I would really love to dig into Elon Musk's mind. I really would.
What would you ask him? What's your question?
I just, I don't have an agenda of like questions that I'd ask him, but I'd really want to know, what is his driving force? What is driving you? And I know he's got some canned answers, but really the core of what drives him, like the real foundational thing. What drives you to take over, change the world, do incredible things that had never been done before?
Right. What do you feel when you hear the name Duke the dog?
Oh man, that's my dog, Duke. Duke, my dog. He is we rescued these puppies from the SPCA, and my mom volunteers at the SPCA.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, she did, before all this COVID nonsense, and she got the luxury of seeing when new animals are dropped off. She kind of gets the pick of the litter, literally. Yeah. And these 2 dogs showed up they were picked up at, somewhere in Alberta, and they were abandoned, no mom, and they were just these two little puppies. And my mom looked at them and was like, "Oh my God, these are coming home with me." And Duke and Duchess. But Duke,
because I've seen you small spoon sometimes. There, man.
Dude,
he's a big dog.
every Sunday,
right.
My family gets together and we cook a big dinner and we shut the phones off. And a big part of my Sunday ritual is after dinner, you got a belly full of food, a little Duke spoon nap. Oh man, spooning a dog that loves to cuddle with a belly full of food and nothing but loves and laughs. That
life is good.
There is a point of zen that you can't touch.
What's one word to describe great aunt Ellen?
Oh, Ellen is she's my mom's, on my mom's side. It's my mom's dad's sister, so my great aunt. My great aunt.
She's
93 now.
93.
Yeah, and has this zest for life, and to that, she's still riding her bike. She is just this inspiration. And when you speak to someone and you can just feel it in your bones that they care, that there is no other agenda other than caring about what's going on with you. And it's this refreshing rejuvenation, love beaming out. That's her. And she's an inspiration because she's been like that her whole life and she's still going.
So what's one word?
Love. That's how I would describe her. Love
it. Why do you think most people are not living up to their potential? What's missing?
It's the obstacles that they put in their own mind. It is that negative talk. It is the doubt, like you said, the number one salesman in the world, selling one product. We are our own worst enemy. And martial arts says it in countless, the toughest battle to win is the one within. And it's ironic because we are the only species on the planet that have split in two. There are us as a being and our image of who we think we are.
A shadow self.
Yes. And it's like, I am this, I am that. And that's ego. And we need to protect that. And it's, instead of being who you are, you're propping up something in your mind. And that same thing that props up those things in our mind can be the same things that hold us back. I look at my life and I look at the time where I don't think I can jump over the kids and kick the board. These self-limiting beliefs. If you tell yourself something over and over again, you'll believe it.
Right.
And who is the narrator of the story? The mind is yours. And in martial arts, just like how you train something on the mats, you can train your mind. You can train how to think, how to observe, how to interpret, how to adapt, how to flow, how to use your environment to your advantage. We're calling it joy-jitsu, the art of extracting joy out of life. It can be trained. And Kyle and I, we just along the journey, we actually did a podcast episode on this where we're like, we can train how to punch and kick. We can train how to get stronger, faster, lift heavier, run faster, all these different attributes that are physical. But how often are we actually training mindset? And it is no different. And training how to extract joy out of life is a practice.
So that is what's missing right now.
Yes.
People's ability to find joy in what they do.
Get out of their own way. Yes.
Love that.
Yes.
Almost done. If you had 60 seconds with your 15-year-old self, what words of wisdom would you tell him? Keep going.
Keep going. And I would not warn, I would not spoil any surprises because everything that I went through, I had to go through. I wouldn't take any of it back. The deepest, the darkest points of my life, I'm grateful for.
Right.
And
this is the hardest lesson to really embody, because even just recently going through just challenges, I have to remind myself, like, it's not about me. And I'm thankful to be here now experiencing this. I don't know how this is going to end up. All I know is that I'm on the right path, and this is going to make sense, but it's only going to make sense in the rear view.
Right. Looking back. And I've just seen it too many times to know and to see the pattern where, like, every setback set me up for the next high. And I get cautious when I'm at those highs, because I know that those highs, there's going to be a regression. So I kind of get ready for it. I kind of like, things going a little too good right now. Last question, what are you currently working on right now, and how can people find you?
Budo Brothers is what I'm working on relentlessly. And I really encourage folks that want to learn more about what we're doing on this journey. Subscribe to our podcast, the Budo Brothers podcast. Every day, every week, we talk about the timeless topics of mindset, martial arts, and entrepreneurship. And those are really three key pillars that are fundamental to both Kyle and myself. And we just dig into awesome topics. Follow us on this journey. Kyle and I are going to be doing this for the rest of our lives.
Love it.
There's nothing for sale. We're not going to build this and then flip it and da-da-da-da-da. We're going to be on this journey for a lifetime. And we're going to be dishing out value, dishing out knowledge, sending it out, because it is an equation. Outbound equals inbound. Output equals input. Input equals output. It's the way the universe balances. And the more we put out, the more we get. And so that's the way we live.
Love it, my friend. You know what? It's been an action-packed hour and a half.
Whoa, yep. 90 minutes.
And it is certainly an honor to get to know you a little bit more, to dig deep into some of the questions that most people don't know about you, and really just have a lot of fun. Rise is, of course, real individuals sharing excellence, and we get a rise out of each other and having fun. It's been a blast. I certainly think that the world needs more people like you. I think the world, and men in particular, lack mentors. And I hope that when people watch this, they can see a mentor in you, even though they might not know you, that you can certainly inspire people. Continue doing what you're doing, because we need that. We live in a very divisive world where people are healing, and it takes great people like yourself to put themselves out there and be that shining light when we're going through some dark times. So I appreciate that. And it is, you have my word. I want to follow you on this journey as well. So
thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much. Really appreciate your time, my friend.
Deepest gratitude. Thank you so much.
All right. Take care.
This was great.
This was great, guys.
Signing off.
Signing off, guys. Subscribe. All right. Take care, guys.